Thank you, Mr. Jetli, to give this opportunity to speak about some case study. This was a rooftop project for 10 kilowatt to be installed at ACC headquarters in Bombay. This project size value-wise is very small. It was 2.5 million rupees. That is 25 lakhs basically. And the timelines were really very challenging because of so many factors. The letter of intent was issued on 6th of February and the completion was given at 5th of April. Here it was okay. It seems that you have enough time. But the purchase order was released on 20th of March. In just 15 days you had to commission the project, and it was on a turnkey basis. Now, the critical activities, see, thing is that when you are talking about the project to be implemented and you have couple of sub-suppliers and vendors, the subcontracting has to be done in such a way that it meets the requirements of the customer. So we call basically the back-to-back purchase orders to be placed. Then the cash flow management, which basically though it is a small thing, but see, every dimension has to be addressed. Otherwise basically the profitability get affected. So the cash flow, receiving the advances, and in such a short time, if you break the total cash flow in 4 portions, it becomes very difficult to manage. So then subsystem deliveries, like there are basically 4 systems. There are the PV modules, then the inverter, then the energy meters and the structures. These are the 4 basically subsystems. Then the technical clearances for the single line diagrams. This activity just in 15 days you have to do all these things. If you imagine, it's a complicated single line diagram. Then the mounting systems, what is the weight, because of the rooftop. It's a building of 50, 60 years old. They say that what will be the total weight of the structure, will it be able to hold it. You submit the drawings with complete details so that we can check with the consultant whether it will be able to hold that kind of weight. And they have done the already some kind of waterproofing, and that waterproofing should not be disturbed. These kind of things which happen. All this was happening within such a small duration of 15 days. So then also the unit generation. Suppose you are installing 10 kilowatt, how many units it will generate per day? And a guarantee has to be given for entire year. Let's say this was supposed to give 17,000 units in a year. Now so that means it comes around 50 to 55 units per day it should generate. Then only it will be able to meet a 17,000 requirement of the total generation. Then logistics, the goods have had to move from where, their one product in fact was to be imported. Team deployment for organizing all these things. Statutory clearances also they brought in. They said that we are not at all bothered about, the permissions from the best, that the Bombay Electricity Supply Authority, you have to take it from them. So that also was to be given. Then system synchronization with the grid. Yeah, it was a 33 kV grid connected system, which was supposed to give the first preference to solar. That means if it is generating 10 kilowatt, the requirement is 150 kilowatt. So whatever power is being generated, that will be given first preference, and whatever is left out, that will be taken from the grid. So for that purpose, the system has to be synchronized. The frequency and everything has to be matched with the grid. Then of course finally the testing and handover. So these are one of the very in fact difficult things, when we look at from these pressure, focus, leadership, all these kinds of things. In the matter of 15-20 days we are all facing that. Next slide please. Yeah. So I will talk about some of the bottlenecks which we faced in the implementation. The biggest problem was the inverter. Inverter basically what it does, it takes the DC, converts into AC. After you collect the power from different panels, it goes in that. And so the thing is that we are talking about the scope. Here the scope was probably somehow missed. You know, it was a single phase, 3-phase gate, and we probably didn't discuss much about it. And the vendor, in fact, being Moser Bayer, they quoted, you know, somehow single phase. When it came to, you know, the single line diagram status, then they said, no, this is wrong. It has to be 3-phase. Now you can imagine at that point of time from single phase to 3-phase, and the cost was also different, delivery and everything, you know, created a big problem. Finally, we had to cancel the order on Moser Bayer. It went to that extent because we were running out of time. Their cost overrun was going very high. They said we will charge so much, which was virtually impossible to adjust there. So we had to place order on some other company. Then, well, efficiency again. In the inverter, you know, there are Indian manufacturers, their efficiency is 92-93%. Here, if we go for 90-93% inverter, you won't get 17,000 units. You will maybe 16,000 and all that. Then again that's a problem. So efficiency had to be above 96-97%. Then whether the product, if you import it, whether it is available, the after sales services are available. It's a 25-year system we are talking about. If it fails, you know, but then you are nowhere. Again, as I said, the costing versus delivery schedule. Cash flow. It's a big company, SEC. You said, okay, they will release the advance money, and it took 15 days. By the time you are delivering everything, advance is coming. And they expect that your system should be up and running before their even advance comes.